All right, we're live. Snap to it, boys. We got some money to make.
That's absolutely. Some of that market open money. That's the best money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The market just opened about 15 minutes ago, and we are rock and rolling on Thursday morning. One thing I want to get out of the way really quickly, we've got Starbucks has been in the headlines a lot for some negative reasons. We've got a opportunity alert out at Likefolio that we put out a couple days ago on Starbucks, which is really interesting. I think people should really make sure they get that. If you've been thinking about joining Likefolio, do it now on the Likefolio website. Just go to pricing. It's pretty cheap. We might have to. I'm going to have to raise that price. I think Landon's kind of whipping me on that, but we've got the alert out. If you join now, we'll get you the alert within like 15 or 20 minutes, and they have earnings after the bell today. It's not necessarily an earnings trade. It's more like a 6 to 9 month play on Starbucks, but it kind of this kicks it off.
Right.
I mean, we can get things going in the right direction. So make sure you're joined. We want to trade with you, and that's how we keep things running around here. It's how we keep the lights on.
Right. A lot of times alerts will come out right around earnings. That doesn't necessarily mean it's an earnings play because earnings are every 3 months.
Yeah.
It's always going to be, often it's going to be just before earnings. So
Yeah.
a lot of times it's a longer term play. If you don't have the stomach for entering a trade the day before earnings, you can wait till after earnings and then enter the trade.
Yeah, that's totally cool. And like Nick has said so many times, how key duration is to these trades. So we got Starbucks after the bell today, kind of kicking off a 6 to 9 month trade. Hopefully it goes our way. But it's pretty cool because every one of those alerts comes with like 3 ways to play it: the conservative, the aggressive, the option spread. It's pretty cool. But enough of that. Last time we talked about getting American Express wrong. I do have some good news, though. Pinnacle Foods, the one with that Gardein brand.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, I think we did Gardein on the podcast. Like, it's a vegan, frozen packaged food that has just taken off for Pinnacle. And we kind of noticed that and put out a blog post. I think it was in Forbes. But
we did that analysis on the food trends, and the vegan chart looks like the Gardein chart.
Yeah.
Whereas the vegetarian is real flat. So it's really interesting that if you're going into that world, you go vegan. You don't go just vegetarian.
Yeah,
apparently.
I think vegetarians that's like the cool thing to do 10 years ago.
Right.
And now it's vegan. You got to be like hardcore.
Right.
Yeah, I've been hearing more and more people attempting the vegan route.
Yeah.
That's a tough route. I mean,
Oh.
that is a very dedicated, difficult route.
If there's an opposite of vegan, so Najev, that's vegan spelled backwards. I'm Najev. I'm so Najev. I'll go an entire day without anything that would qualify as vegan.
Hunter only, no gathering.
No gathering. That's right. I'm a hunter only. Well, I might gather eggs. I think that counts. But I don't think vegans go for eggs either.
No.
I don't know what they do. But anyway, Pinnacle is up.
Yeah.
What were we in at? Like 52, 53, something like that? And it's now at 61, which is a pretty good move for food packaging. They got some activist investors in there now. But good trade there. So we're loving that. What do you guys think about Snapchat? I'm a little worried about them. I mean, we've been negative on them for a couple months now, since like 18 or 19, and now it's down
We've
to
been
14.
negative since the IPO. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's pretty true.
we've hit it. We've come back in more here and there. But if you look at the purchase intent chart, it peaked like a month and a half or 2 months before the IPO.
Beautiful IPO.
Absolutely.
Beautiful exit by,
I mean,
is it Evan Spiegel? Is that the correct name?
That is, for the CEO of Snapchat, absolutely correct.
yeah, if you're going to go IPO, you might as well do it when you're hot.
That's the way these IPOs are now. Like 20 years ago or whatever, a little more than that probably, Amazon IPO'd at like a $400 million market cap, right? And then built a business from there.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like all of these companies just go until there's no more support for them in the private financing sector. I mean, Uber's got, $40 billion valuation or something. I mean, companies are going to
Right.
where they would be in the top 50 publicly traded companies in terms of valuation, and they're still not going public.
Right.
And so it's almost like the only thing that goes public anymore, it's like the last dump of the stock.
Right. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. I think it's a real shame because 20, 50 years ago, that's truly how you raised the big money.
Right.
You could do but before the venture kind of really took hold, you could do some private financing rounds. You could get your company to a certain point, and then if you wanted to raise 50 or $100 million to actually go build a really big business, you kind of had to IPO.
Right.
Now that's not the case. So anyway, we've been negative on Snapchat since we felt like that was one of those.
Yeah.
Like you said, our data showed it was peaking right as they were doing the roadshow for the IPO.
Yeah, they nailed that. But then that rollout, the user rollout, we put out a report on that about how bad the reception was for that, how negative it was taking.
It was so bad.
Yeah, that was absolutely terrible. I mean, all that stuff is fairly priced in now, right? We've got earnings on May 1st.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to touch it into earnings? We've got IV at 52-week highs. I mean, is it even worth touching? This is our first earnings quarter reflecting that new UI.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm feeling so good about it.
Well, I mean,
I would actually like to see IV at all-time highs in order to touch it.
yeah. Well, okay. So here's my theory. My theory is it's already down $4.50 from where we put that report out.
Right.
So it's like that's a nice gain. That's close to 25% gain if you're short the stock. So my theory is there's a lot of negativity baked into Snapchat already.
Sure.
The fact that the one thing that makes me think they could actually still manage to disappoint beyond even what they've disappointed already is the fact that they just announced yesterday or the day before that they're redesigning the new UI.
Yeah.
Like they're actually waving the white flag. And the fact that they put that out before the earnings release makes me think they might be trying to get ahead of the bad news in the earnings release. Because if I'm an advertiser on Snapchat and I'm seeing this stuff, this data from us, from everywhere, and they're going to actually have to release these user numbers. If I'm an advertiser on Snapchat and Snapchat's not cool, and like the Kardashians are even talking about how it's not cool anymore, it's like, why am I spending $500,000 or $5 million or whatever it is to promote a story for the day?
Sure.
Like, and have really no tracking on it. Like, people can't click on those things very well. It's like, what am I doing with my marketing money? And so Snapchat's kind of in a little bit of a potential death spiral, I feel like. But I'm not going to bet against them going into this earnings report just because, like I said, it's been a 25% down move that's already been baked in.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to bet against them at these levels. I mean, if you look at the stock chart here, we're kind of churning right above 14, and 14's been a big support level. So, I mean, I think this is where you could potentially stall out and maybe find support longer term. But, I mean, if it breaks below this level, then you can definitely call the death spiral a reality.
Yeah. Well, I think
so much of their value is based on growth.
Yeah.
That if they hold, that's very bad.
Right. That's when you get multiple, or if they decline, then you start to get, you just lose that fantasy multiple of what it could be. Like, you're saying. I mean,
it's like, well, it was what it could be. Now it's not. You lose that, and you start not making money.
And Instagram is just kicking their ass.
It was so crazy to see how fast everybody just jumped ship Snapchat, went straight to IG story.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Just like that.
That's scary.
Yeah.
It is, especially if you're...
That's even scary for Instagram because they got to be like, okay, tiptoe on everything because these people are fickle.
Yes. They are fickle. The good news for Facebook and Instagram is that it's Facebook, and so it's already got that web of real life connections built into it.
I was just going to say that. I mean, people already have kind of that subconscious plant to kind of want to side with them because they already have so much of their life shared with that particular company.
Yeah.
So they easily jump ship from this other company that's unrelated and come over to this company that is related.
Right. It's like...
I don't think the shift would be as quick and easy going away from IG
No,
stories. Now
Facebook-
that they've got them.
Facebook has a lot of gravity. A lot
Absolutely.
of gravity.
Like
Like
a
it
black
just
hole.
sucks you
Social
in.
black hole.
like, okay, I'm leaving Facebook. I'm going to Instagram. Okay, I'm done with that. I'm just messaging people.
Don't
WhatsApp
you feel like
is.
something will beat Facebook though over the next 10 years?
I mean, eventually, probably so. Everything.
But Facebook will own it.
Yeah.
How
'Cause
big
they'll see it
was
coming.
MySpace at its peak compared to Facebook now? Any idea?
Oh, minuscule.
Minuscule.
Minuscule. Because I think Facebook has over 1 billion
Active
users
users, right?
active.
Yeah.
Just social media
Daily
wasn't
active.
nearly that big. But as a
Correct.
percentage, MySpace probably owned a similar percentage of social media.
Yeah.
It just wasn't, the space wasn't that big.
Yeah, 100%.
And they got whooped. Similar, right? Because they had a sort of a UI change where you could put your own JavaScript in and people made everything flashy and stuff. And their pages were awful.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
That died a quick death.
Yeah.
I felt like it was like
Once you could
overnight.
customize your page, it was like, whoops.
Yeah.
You just handed the keys to a 12-year-old.
It was so weird. I didn't even know why it was dying or that it was dying. I just stopped using it for some reason. I can't even really remember. And it was just dead. Facebook just came in and clobbered it.
Yep.
Well, they also sold it to
They sold it for a good exit.
News Corp,
Yeah.
right?
And then bought it back.
And then they bought it back.
Bought it back for $1 million.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Like years later.
That's beautiful.
Almost for like nostalgia purposes. Hey, whatever.
Yeah, I don't blame them. But anyway, so Facebook, we did that. I think last time we talked about that, and I talked about when we went on. We were on Fox Business, being bullish on Facebook. That was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and the stock was at what, like 152 or 153.
You were talking about whether or not Facebook quits has legs.
Yeah, which it did not. The
Right.
delete Facebook movement had no legs. Flash in the pan.
Vocal minority, people not actually doing it.
Yeah, a lot of activism. And so that report went out, and I think last night Facebook just blew the doors off the market. And now the stock is, what we got it at, Nick? It's over 170, I think.
Yeah, we're at 171 basically.
171.
Yeah, a little over 171.
So nice move up for Facebook. And I love that story because it's two companies in the same sector
Right.
where, there was a winner and a loser.
Mm-hmm.
And, the story unfolded. I don't think that, necessarily we were the only ones saying this by any stretch, but the story unfolded, and the data that we had on user behavior and user commentary was very predictive of both of those directions in the same sector, which I think is really cool and pretty proud of.
Absolutely.
So Facebook, you could have made some money going long that into earnings or buying some calls. Snapchat, I think they report next Monday,
May 1st.
May 1st, Tuesday. So,
Tread lightly there.
yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. I know I'm going to trade it, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I mean, I feel like I've made the money going down.
You get some house money.
Got a little house money. I like to play with house money.
And people always do this. I do it. I'm sure you do it. When you beat a stock, you have house money on that stock.
Yes,
When you're down
Absolutely.
to a stock, you that stock owes you money.
totally.
It's stupid, but
That's how I got a few stocks on my blacklist. I won't trade anymore.
yeah, that's smart. Blacklist
Because they
stocks are
just beat
smart.
me every time.
Yep.
American Express is becoming one of those.
So I've got the Snapchat options chain up on the screen.
Okay, let's see.
And the May weeklies that expire on May 4th.
What's the stock at? 14,
Yeah, $15 basically.
15 even. Okay.
So these are the May weeklies that expire 3 days after the earnings report.
Correct.
Okay,
Yep, which is eight days from now is the expiration date.
got it.
You can sell the 13 puts right now for 38 cents. Which to me, that's 2% the price, over 2% the price of the stock. And you're $2 out of the money, $1 under that $14 support I told you about.
Yeah.
If you want to throw some risk on the table, that seems like a nice little
What about
cushion.
what about like the 17 calls? What about the other side? What are those at?
The 17 calls are sitting at 56 cents. So there is
Wow.
almost a 2-to-1 differential there,
Wow.
and the calls being richer than the puts.
Mhm.
So the market is betting on upside here.
The market's betting on upside for
So
Snapchat.
I guess we need to switch that and sell the calls.
Yeah, you want to be
Fade
contrarian.
the public, man. Fade the public.
It's interesting.
That's crazy.
So everybody thinks it's oversold and it's all priced in.
You know, I'll probably just sell both of them.
Just make it a little strangle.
Yeah. Probably could just sell both of them.
I might sell those calls. That's rich.
That is very rich.
Well-
that's 5% the price of the stock to be 2 points out of the money. Well, 2.5 points when you factor in the break
Yeah,
even.
it's got to move, what, 12, 13%
Yeah,
for you to break even?
yeah, yeah.
And then you get another 2%?
That's no joke.
Wow.
And I mean, we're gonna get a massive vol crush because it has a history of crushing significantly. We're here at about 86% implied volatility. It'll likely crush down to 60, 55 range. So you'll get a 25, 30%, or not 25, 30 point drop.
I'm going to do
in,
that. I'm going to sell
ID.
the 17s. Not a lot of money, just a few, but
Yeah.
I like that play.
I might just sell both of those, the 13 and the 17. I kind of like that too. Just
Little strangle action.
yeah, and whichever way it goes, if I get assigned, I'll probably be fine with.
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of cool with Snapchat and the $14, $15. Like
Right.
I wouldn't mind at all if it popped and I got assigned the 17 and now it's short at $17.
Right.
That wouldn't
That's
bother
kinda
me at
what I was
all.
thinking.
The only thing they're not showing yet is the market maker move, which shows you what the market's anticipating the earnings move to be.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can calculate that, but I need
What's the stock at right now?
stock's right at 15
And what's the 15 call and the 15 put if you add those together?
for that May weekly.
Yeah.
We're at $1.25 on the put side, $1.20, so $2.45. Call it $2.50.
God, that's so much.
20%. Not 20%. 16%. That's big. I mean, this is a big report for them.
Yeah, it is.
It's a big report. They got a lot to prove. And they just launched those stupid goggles again.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Going back to the goggles.
What are the goggles?
The glasses that you wear, and they have cameras in them that are pointing out that can feed to your Snapchat.
Okay. Kind of like Google Glass, sort of, except for it feeds directly to your Snapchat. So people
Yeah,
can
it's
see
more
what
like
you're
Yeah,
seeing.
Google Glass is more like informative.
Right.
But it had a camera
Snapchat
too, right?
Goggles.
Yeah, it did.
It did.
Yeah, you're right.
But it more kind of like gave you information on what you were looking at, whereas Snapchat Goggles gives you the ability to socially share what you're looking at.
So you go to a concert and you're like, check it out, front row. And
Yeah, and this one
that's
chef
cool.
was using it, and he was wearing the goggles, so he had both hands free, and he was walking people through recipes. It was actually pretty cool.
That is cool. I think
There's great use cases.
there are great use cases for sure. I think, a lot of you may know I went to law school for like 7 or 8 weeks before dropping out.
7 or 8 weeks. I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah, well,
It gets longer every time, right?
that there was any attendance at all is questionable.
The number of hours in class, maybe in the teens.
But
In a
anyway,
couple of years, he'll have graduated.
it is my expert legal opinion, though you probably will need to check with an actual attorney, that if you see someone wearing Snapchat goggles out in public, it's completely legal to punch them in the face.
Oh, man. Because you're on somebody's Snapchat at that point.
Yeah, you're like, really, buddy?
What do the goggles look like? Do they look goofy and cartoony like I would think? Snapchat? Or
Kind
are they
of,
kind
but
of
also kind of,
incognito?
they're not incognito. They've got cameras. They got 2 cameras, one on each side. I don't know if they're planning on some
Ooh, little VR?
3D VR type of deal, but
That's cool.
yeah, I think they could make something very cool out of the whole thing, but it kind of also smacks of desperation at this point because they just put out the goggles a couple, like 18 months ago, and they
Here's a shot
flopped.
of them on the screen. They essentially have, they're just sunglasses, and they have cameras on both, the upper left and upper
Gotcha.
right corners of the.
I like
Of
that
the
they're not
shades.
incognito. I like that they're kind of branded a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
So
definitely say, hey, I've got Snap goggles on.
Yeah,
it won't be long before you'll just always have to think that you're being filmed.
yeah, For
You
sure.
know, that people will just have cameras in their retinas and who knows, whatever. So this is the first step towards the truly Orwellian.
Yeah, but think of how much better America's Funniest Home Videos will get if everything's always being filmed.
Oh man, I can't even count the amount of times I've wished something was recorded.
Me too.
I mean, I almost encourage that situation.
I know, just for the laughs. And then we'll just wrap it up on broader market. I'm a little concerned. I don't know about you guys. So, Nick, do you have a broader market call? Because to me, I'm watching these earnings reports come out, and we're seeing some where the company beats earnings really well, and the stock still drops, which is always kind of a little yellow flag for me on the overall market. Like it's a sell first, ask questions later type of situation brewing. So that's kind of my 2 cents. I feel like market risk is to the downside very significantly versus upside, but like to get your take.
So on the screen here, we've got that SPY chart that we've looked at in the past, and I've got both of those uptrend support lines we've talked about in the past. It's definitely fully broken through the initial uptrend support, which kind of only factors in, a few moves, but the lower one is what factors in every base. And right now it's testing it pretty hard, but it still has yet to break it. Until it breaks it, I really can't shift completely bearish. But I would say, based on this price action, it is definitely
Caution.
giving it the old college try to get through that major support level.
Got it.
It's a multi-year uptrend support. So once it breaks through there, it's trouble. Right now we're at 265. That uptrend support is sitting right at 260. If you see a break to about 255, a break and hold down in the 255 level over the next 3 to 4 weeks, then I think we're shifting to a full bearish mode here.
I'd probably look at it wrong. I like to just look at individual names because I feel like that's where our edge is.
Yeah, for sure.
And kind of ignore the market. And then if Nick starts yelling from the other room, hey guys, look at the market, I'm like, okay, I need to pay attention. Something's going on. But generally I like to look at just single names. Probably not smart, but
I think that is smart.
Yeah,
I mean, that
you're
you
gonna
got to
get
know
a
where
lot
your
more-
edge is.
Yeah, you're going to get a lot more individual opportunity there, but there's also great opportunities in broad-based market trading because of the liquidity associated with it.
right.
And the liquidity associated with the options. And you don't get real good signals to actually get a directional trade in broad-based markets a lot lately.
True.
So if we get this signal, then I'm definitely going to hop on it.
Nice.
Sounds like a plan. All right, so we've planned it all out. We've got that Starbucks report after hours today, so make sure you're on as a Likefolio member. We love trading with you guys. And we've got, just make sure you're following us on Twitter and YouTube. It's cool.
Absolutely.
We're having a good time.
Yep.
I agree.
All right, have a good week, guys.